Let me start to say how great a privilege and honor it is for me and for our university to receive you as one of us. We warmly welcome you and thank you for the scientific contribution you've made and you are going to make for the development of the research on positive psychology at University Fernando Pessoa, namely through our PhilLab. Thank you for teaching us the real importance of the smile as a superior language of human intelligence. Thank you for the semiotics on smiling that your exhaustive research has been constructing. As you know, I am neither a psychologist nor a researcher on semiotics of smiling, but I intuitively understand that smile surely was the first gestures and facial language to help our ancestors to, in Shakespeare's phrase, put a girdle round about the earth. I have no doubt that it was the smile of Vasco da Gama that avoids him to be seen as an enemy when dropped anchor at the port of Capocat, Calicut, on 20 May 1498, since he and his crew didn't speak the local language. The smile in those very old times was primarily regarded as a language of seduction, friendship, and peace, in the absence of a common verbal communication system. The smile was the language of the West shaking hands to the East. It also was the language of the Christianity of a new Weltanschauung. The same gestures and facial language was also used by António Mota, Francisco Zeimoto, and António Peixoto, who in 1542 set out from Ayutthaya, the port and capital of Siam, in a junk laden with hides and other commodities bound for Xuanzhou, sailed across the Gulf of Hainan to make landfall on the island of Tanegashima off the southern tip of Kyushu on 23 September 1543. Those three Portuguese were the first European to discover Japan, or Zipangu, 1 year before, after famous Portuguese, the Jesuit Fernando Mendes Pinto. The smile was a language and was a weapon of the Portuguese. The smile as a language and as a weapon of the Portuguese is abundantly described in Peregrinação. The smile was indeed the most powerful weapon of the Portuguese adventures in the seas. The eminent American historian of Portuguese Empire, George Winius, has said that the Portuguese were primarily explorers in Africa, conquerors in the Indian Ocean, and businessmen in Southeast Asia, and we can believe to be very broadly true. However, it would be truer if we add, after the French anthropologist Roger Bastide, that the Portuguese had conquered the world not with swords, but with the pennies. This does not mean that the famous triptych of G motives, which is generally ascribed to the Portuguese for their amazing imperial enterprise, in the words of John Villiers of the University of London, in the first place, God, gold, and glory needs to be discarded. We all know that the subsequent involvement of the Jesuits in the trade between Japan and Macau, conducted in the great ship of Amacon, so vividly illustrated on the Nambam screens, and similar enterprises such as the involvement of the Dominicans with the sandalwood trade in Solar and Timor, clearly demonstrate this inextricable blending of motives and the way in which God and gold, often perforce, had to go hand in hand. That was never a real problem for the Portuguese of the empire. They accepted as natural that dialogue between God and gold, as they believed in sin, but yet more in forgiveness. It was that way of living and trading with other people and nations that allowed the Portuguese laid the foundations of the modern world economy, as it was claimed by the American historian James Boyachian in an important book on Portuguese trade in Asia. I am not going to bother you with historical details and analysis of the Portuguese lost empire, because my aim is simply to stress the natural skill the Portuguese have they yet, to encounter and incorporate different cultures and civilizations. As the Huguenot Jean-Baptiste Tavernier wrote in the 17th century, and I quote, "The Portuguese, no matter where they go, make the place better for those who come after them, while the Dutch try to destroy everything in the places where they set foot." I'm sorry, Professor Nicole. This comment was made on the false idea spread by the Dutch that the Dutch East Indian Company rose like a phoenix from the ruins of the Portuguese enterprise. Those who know the history know well the way Dutch occupied the maritime routes and lands Portuguese had opened to the Western trade. Even Peter van Dam, a Dutch official in the 17th century, remarked to the directors of the Dutch India East Company that despite the proud, arrogant behavior, he said, of the Portuguese and the arbitrary taxes they applied, among other apparently unwelcome traits, they were preferred to other Europeans. Anthony van Diemen, the Governor-General of Batavia in 1642, identified the reason of that preference and wrote, and I quote, "The majority of the Portuguese in India or in Asia consider this region their native country." That ability of communicating with different people, of seduction by gestures and facial languages, used for trading goods or for trading seasonable love, allowed the Portuguese Empire to be second in lasting after the Roman Empire. Nowadays, unfortunately, a few Portuguese have forgotten that past and are losing the smile as a language of seduction, friendship, and peace. It is for them, and because of them, that we invest on the research of the emotional psychology and have decided to distinguish you as an eminent scholar in the area. We have and we want to recover the historical strength of our smile so that we can defeat the pessimism and keep a positive mood to open the doors to the future. You may say that I have more imagination than I should. However, as Goethe had said, and I quote, "Everything has already been imagined before. What is difficult is to imagine again." Let me remember, and with this let me bring my words to an end, that we are in a university whose motto is Nova et Nove. That is, we fight against the difficulties, transforming the poetic imagination of Fernando Pessoa in a creative way of making different to try to make better. That is why we are all happy for your nomination as Doctor Honoris Causa of University Fernando Pessoa, a young, very dynamic and very modern higher education institution where the quality of teaching, the quality of learning and the quality of researching are an ethic imperative. Thank you very much.